relationship to sacred images.
Okay.
Okay, well, the sacred image of masculinity in the West is a crucifixion, but a man who's crucified. But the sacred image of a woman isn't a woman. The sacred image of a woman is a woman and an infant, right? It's a dyad and not a monad.
Sure.
Right. And in the Christian view,
Yeah,
those two images, they vie for supremacy, right? I mean, obviously, Christ is the superordinate image, but Mary, as the mother of God, is
Sure.
the female equivalent. And so one of the things I've been playing with at an axiomatic level is the notion that unless the feminine is conceptualized as the combination of female and infant, then the culture has lost its attachment to the traditional sacred images and is probably on its way out.
Yeah. I think there's an argument that when a culture loses its religion, that it starts to become antinatalist and decline in numbers and potentially disappear.
Isn't that exactly what is happening to the West ever since the West turned its back on Christianity and decided to accept secularism, which produced ideologies like Marxism, feminism, secular humanism, atheism, wokeism? Who in their right mind, and I'm talking to all you atheists, secularists, and feminists because I believe you're all the same, who in their right mind can deny that the West is not headed towards self-destruction? That the period of enlightenment and secularism experiment hasn't failed horribly? I mean, look at the statistics. The West isn't reproducing enough to replace its own population. No one is invading the West, so why are they not reproducing? And the answer is because of the hedonistic message within all these secular ideologies. Let me give you guys an example of hedonism so you understand what I'm talking about. A woman gets pregnant and aborts the baby because she doesn't want to accept the consequences of living a promiscuous lifestyle. Now, who told that woman that it's good to be promiscuous? Well, feminism did during the sexual revolution. Who invented the pill? Well, feminism did. Look up Margaret Sanger and Gregory Pincus. Who fought for the legalization of abortion? Well, feminism did. Do you see what I mean now? The decline in marriage, the rise in promiscuity, the decline in population is directly linked to moral degeneracy that came about because the West stopped following Christianity. And that is the truth.
This is about that. You tell me what you think about this. So I've been working this out in my next book, which is coming out in November. So it's an analysis of biblical stories. And in a way, it's an attempt to solve the alignment problem. Okay, so imagine this. Imagine that there's a unity of moral purpose that is conceptualized in the traditional writings as what should be put in the highest place. So it's God, and in the final analysis, it's ineffable. But it is a fundamental unification, monotheism. Okay, now, here's a hypothesis. When that collapses, two things arise to replace it. Okay, one is the striving for power, and the other is the untrammeled, what would you call it, the untrammeled dominion of hedonism, and especially on the sexual gratification side. So it's like, if there's no ultimate unity that's future and community oriented, that's predicated on sacrifice, you get a dissolution immediately into the next two contenders for domination. And one is, it's about me, buddy, and get the hell out of the way. And aligned with that is, not only is it about me, it's about me, what would you say, subjugated to my most base whims, because why would I want power except to do exactly what the hell I want whenever I want to?
And that's what happened to the Western world after the separation of church and state. Christianity got replaced for hedonism and materialism, okay, which is power. This is what he's talking about. This is why we have the culture that we currently have today. This is why we have so many people that don't believe in God anymore, okay, atheists. This is why. This is why we have a me culture, because it's all about me, how I feel. It's all about validating my feelings, all right? Christianity is completely opposed to what came after the period of enlightenment, which is the idea that the purpose and meaning of life is about hedonism. It's about power, which translates to me culture, individualism.
And so part of the problem with the idea of people like Dawkins So Dawkins and the atheists.
I've had many conversations with Dawkins over the years.
You have, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we're going to do a podcast.
This Dawkins guy, look, this might sound controversial what I'm going to say next, but I don't believe Dawkins is an atheist. All right? That's just my position. I don't believe Dawkins is an atheist. I know he's known for being an atheist. I know he's a very famous atheist. He's known to promote atheism. Some people even call him the king of atheism. I know all of that, all right? I know what he promotes to the world. But to me, he is just way too clued up. He just gives me that vibe that he's way too clued up to not know that God exists.
Together,
okay.
Which I'm very looking forward to.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious about this issue because his idea, and it's kind of an Enlightenment idea, is that if we dispensed with the idiot superstition of the past, then everyone would become, Baconian rationalists, and that's yeah.
Unfortunately,
That
not.
hasn't happened.
No, well, what seems to me to happen much more likely is that power and hedonism rise to take the place of what was holy, so to speak. And Nietzsche warned about that when he proclaimed the death of God to begin with. He thought nihilism would also enter the realm, right? Nihilism, power, and hedonism as the triumvirate of replacement gods.
If the unity of moral purpose collapses, power and hedonism will rise up to take its place. In other words, the collapse of the Christian religion in the hearts and minds of Western men and women, especially the ones in power, gave rise to secular liberal ideologies that, when thoroughly studied and analyzed, comes down to nothing more than the pursuit of power and hedonism. Hence why the West is in the situation that it's in. Jordan Peterson goes on to mention Richard Dawkins' position, which is almost every atheist position, that once we get rid of religion, that human beings are suddenly going to become more rational, moral beings when the opposite is true and when the opposite has happened. Humans haven't become morally more advanced or better in the absence of religion. I don't think any atheist secularist can honestly look at the West and say we are better people and society is not on the verge of collapse due to how morally degenerate it has become. The pursuit of power and hedonism as the foundation for meaning in life has done nothing but harm society, and as a result, Western countries murder their own babies in the womb, destroy the nuclear family, destroy the institutions of learning, deny objective reality, and push for ideas and policies that are contrary to life and existence.
So I think during...
Why are you willing to make this an issue, do you think?
Well, it
sort of like the
happened to one of
issue.
It happened to one of my older boys, where I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he did.
That was a lie right from the outset. No reliable clinician ever believed that. There was never any evidence for that. And also, if there's a higher suicide rate, the reason is because of the underlying depression and anxiety, and not because of the gender dysphoria. And every goddamn clinician knows that too. And they're too cowardly to come out and say it. Right? And so and then we end up in exactly, when I saw that lie start to propagate, it just made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It's like, I see. So you're telling parents that unless they agree to this radical transformation that their children are going to die, and you think that's moral, and you think that's true. That is so pathological that it's almost incomprehensible. I can't imagine anything worse. I can't imagine the therapist doing anything worse than that, or sitting by idly and remaining silent while his colleagues are doing it. It's pathetic.
It's incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
It won't stop till that happens.
Yeah.
It'll just go underground. Puberty blockers are being accessed online by kids all the time through non-medical channels. So yeah, It's not going to stop. Yeah. Okay, so I see. So that's.
So I was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
Without going into too much detail about Elon's personal life, since we all make mistakes and none of us are perfect, what I'm going to say next is not intended to disrespect Elon in any way, shape, or form. I'm only touching on it because of how relevant it is to what I'm talking about in this video. Let's be honest, guys. Elon Musk is an ambassador in many ways for the tenets that liberal ideologies stand for, which is the pursuit of power and hedonism. His own personal life is evidence of this fact. He's got 12 children by 3 women. He got married twice, divorced twice. He's had 3 children out of wedlock. Most of his children were born via IVF and surrogate. In fact, I don't think he's ever had a baby in the traditional way. One of his sons, who he claimed was born gay, and he knew that he was gay by the age of 4, transitioned when he turned 18. This is something that clearly disturbs Elon. I'll say this for Elon. He honestly appears to be genuinely disturbed about his son's transitioning when he doesn't have to be, as there is no social stigma against having a trans child. In fact, we are living in a time where it's normal, even fashionable, for celebrities to show off their son or daughter who identify as trans or LGBTQ. Now, a couple of celebrities come to mind. There's Dwayne Wade, Naomi Watts, Cher, Cynthia Nixon, Marlon Wayans, Charlize Theron, Jennifer Lopez. The list goes on, and I mean it goes on. It's almost like a ritual you have to go through for you to be a A-lister or successful in the music acting industry. Elon Musk's son, who now goes by the name Vivian, has responded, and he gives a bit more context as to where Elon is to blame in all of this. The point that I'm making here is that if we don't guard ourselves morally and spiritually, we can fall victim to hedonistic, power-driven, evil liberal ideologies like feminism, secular humanism, and wokeism. And it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. Had Elon Musk chosen Christianity instead of liberal ideologies as the authority and source of meaning for his life, I doubt very much he would have lost his son to the LGBT woke agenda. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time, all right? Peace.